Grammys 2017. We're going to talk about the best and worst moments. We're going to talk about Beyonce. Oh my God, her pregnant belly. We're going to talk about Adele. There's so much to talk about, the political statement. So we have a lot to dish, but first thoughts, 5 words or less.
Grammys now for grannies.
Hello from the older side.
Listen.
Beyonce made me cry.
She did.
Yes, and it surprised
Really?
me. You know the part where she made me cry that surprised me when she had the long gaze in the camera and then her VO, and then I just started crying. And I'm sure it's because I'm pregnant and I'm emotional, and then I see that she's carrying twins. But she just looked like a goddess up there to me.
It was a really powerful performance, and I saw it trending
It was understated, and I loved that.
Yeah,
That's the kind of song that should be played never.
What?
Like, when do you listen to that song she played? That was my main problem with most of the songs performed during the Grammys. Was like, when do I listen to this song? There is so little to look to the Grammys to for like being redeeming in any way. All I want to see is the people all in one night come together and play songs I like.
They did. Most of the acts were their popular
Like
songs.
what? Like Chance the Rapper? No.
He did.
Wait.
That song, the one that he sang like a little bit of in the middle.
Right there was
that's
a
what I wanted.
mashup of it. You're right about that.
But like,
okay, but
it was like this weird Adele doing this weird tribute
That was
song
weird. I agree.
was terrible.
I didn't,
Like, Beyonce didn't sing like a song from Lemonade I liked.
Wait. Here, I'll go with you this
You sound
far.
like every internet commenter, by the way. Before I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're like, Beyonce didn't play a song I liked.
What
But
about
it's true.
Formation?
Why weren't
Listen,
they catering
when
to
did
me?
she do that?
Okay, I will go with you this far. Adele is, I think, separate because that was a tribute, so I don't think it's like the same as like Chance the Rapper and Beyonce. But where I sort of hear you on is that Chance's album and Beyonce's album, Lemonade, they are compilation albums.
Right.
They are a coherent piece of work from beginning to end.
Yes.
I understand that when we hear songs, I feel this way as well, when you hear songs from Lemonade, it kind of makes me want to just either watch the whole thing again or listen to the whole album again, because it is absolutely an entire and complete thought. And so when it's isolated, I still think it's beautiful, but I
thought it was
understand
amazing.
where you might feel like it's sort of disjointed. And it should feel that way because Beyonce did have an amazing album, and it's the total package. And I feel the same way with Chance. So when you hear one song, for me, it gives me the effect of like, oh, I want more. And that's what I liked about the performances.
It is really sad in music that frequently now it's just, all the time, it's just songs in a row.
Singles. It's like
Singles in a
1989
row.
was a great compilation of singles.
I think that Lemonade is by far the best album of the year and should be lauded as such because it's fucking so different throughout. Adele songs to me all seem like they're the same thing.
And we'll get to that because Adele agrees with you. That's what's pretty powerful, is what she said in her acceptance speech and then what she said afterwards in her interviews. But what did you think overall about some of the performances? And then we'll actually break it down. But what did you think overall?
I like Lady Gaga. I don't know why.
Except for poor James Hetfield, he had no sound in the beginning.
Yeah, what was that? That was
he
weird.
He had no sound, and that was the
Grammys.
bummer.
I couldn't believe that happened.
I didn't think it was that good. If you've been to a Metallica show, if you've seen Metallica perform live,
I was all
have
about
many
her, though.
times.
I have not, but I was all about Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga looked incredible,
she looked
but
great.
far better Metallica shows that I have seen than, unfortunately, what was shown on the Grammys.
I have
you're hardcore.
a somewhat controversial opinion.
I'm shocked.
No, about Beyonce.
Oh.
Signposted a little more.
What happens, like, at what point are you like, this is my marketing now, this is my branding, I am a goddess? Like, that's, because like, she's literally doing that right now, and you pointed out
Because
to
she's pregnant. I think she's doing it because she's pregnant.
Yeah, I was like, that's what when I
crazy?
saw her perform, I actually get why she did that song, because it's a very slow, soothing song, like the sounds that go through to the womb when you're pregnant. Also, I'm glad she didn't lift anything heavy.
Although the chair going
the
down.
chair.
No,
the chair was crazy.
I hope they insured the shit out of that performance, because
Yeah.
when she went back, I was like, oh my God, what if the chair breaks?
Yeah.
Really cool, visually stunning performance. I think the video was, I don't know about powerful, definitely soothing. It felt like you're in a museum and then there's a room that's blacked out playing like a video on repeat and you go there for like 3 minutes
Totally.
to rest while your
You're
family's
right.
somewhere else.
Like where it's Enya
You're
or
just
something.
like,
You're
oh,
right.
thank God, I'm
You're
just gonna
right.
sit here until someone sits
really
too
good.
close to me.
Yes.
and then I'll get up and rejoin
And
the
it's like
tour.
a 360 experience.
Yeah.
Where you like look around. Oh, is this
Like
on
you,
this wall?
you kind of are looking at what's going on, but you're just happy not to be walking
But it was
anymore.
captivating. I was so
When she
captivated.
snapped
by
and all the
her.
women
See what I'm
showed up,
talking
and
about,
that
though?
was great.
Yeah.
What?
Do you
We're
understand
all
what
over
I'm
the
talking
place here.
about? Where it's like, well, yeah, I know, but
So
what
it's
I'm trying
not
to understand
new.
is like, it's not, and it's an accumulation of everything Beyonce's done throughout her career that has led to her being like Queen Bey, and it's kind of crazy that she has become this imperial figure, and she's aware of it, and she's using it in her branding, and I think that that's kind of like, it just strikes me as kind of odd.
I think she would not have used it in her branding and would have not incorporated it in her performance last night if she was not pregnant with twins and it was her first big reveal. We
Even
saw,
that,
I thought it
even
was
that is
beautiful.
like, it's a celebration, and I understand it's a celebration of
celebration
life.
of womanhood.
Here's what's
and-
ironic
Okay, we
about.
need him. We
what's-
need him.
Okay, what
Fine,
did you
finish
want?
your thought. We have so many different things to get
Go to the next one. I
Grammys.
think it's about Beyonce.
Okay,
and Adele.
so the next part about the Grammys. Ooh, let's talk about Adele because you did bring up Lemonade, and a lot of people thought that Beyonce would have won Album of the Year. Adele won Album of the Year. Now, when Adele went up for her acceptance speech, this is what she said.
Hi. As you can see, it took an army to make me strong and willing again to do it. And I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. 5 years ago, when I was last here, I also was pregnant and I didn't know. And I was awarded that shortly after. I found out shortly after, which was the biggest blessing of my life. And in my pregnancy and through becoming a mother, I lost a lot of myself. And I've struggled, and I still do struggle being a mum. It's really hard. But tonight, winning this kind of feels full circle, and like a bit of me has come back to myself, but I can't possibly accept this award. And I'm very humbled, and I'm very grateful and gracious, but my artist of my life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental, Beyonce. It was so monumental and so well thought out and so beautiful and soul-bearing, and we all got to see another side to you that you don't always let us see, and we appreciate that. And all us artists here, we fucking adore you. You are our light. And the way that you make me and my friends feel, the way you make my black friends feel is empowering, and you make them stand up for themselves. And I love you. I always have, and I always will. Grammys, I appreciate it. The Academy, I love you. My manager, my husband, and my son. You're the only reason I do it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much to everybody.
So not only did she have a lot of wonderful things and praise to say about Beyonce in that speech, but afterwards she had said in her interviews that she, in fact, I might have her quote right here, where she said, I don't have it, but in so many words, she said, what does Beyonce have to do to win this award? And you heard in her speech, she thought that Beyonce should have won Album of the Year.
She Kanye'd herself. She was like, I'm going to let me finish, but Beyonce's album is the best album of all time.
I think she's right, and obviously she thinks she's right. When we look at Adele's work, we look at, you have 19, 21, and 25. She refers to these albums as a trilogy, and of the trilogy, the standout is 21, which absolutely should have won and did win. But 25, while it's a great work, it's not the strongest of the trilogy, which sort of completes this trifecta that she's worked on. No, 21 is because 21 is the one that has.
Either way, 25 outsold Lemonade.
That's true.
Both domestically and internationally.
But I think when it comes down to like a complete thought, that's what we are rewarding for an album. And that was my issue in 1989 one as well, over to Pimp a Butterfly. Right. It's different. For Record of the Year, I actually think that an argument can be made that Hello won over, I think Formation was what Beyonce was up for. But when it comes to Album of the Year,
yeah, what are we doing
here? Coherent thought. I'm confused about what the criteria is that people are voting on, because it seems like what they're voting on is that what songs on the album sold the most, what were the biggest hits.
And who sells more.
No, that's not it. The argument for Beyonce to win Album of the Year is the same as the argument to keep the Electoral College over popular vote. It is to have some artifice in place to artificially skew it to what should probably happen, ideally. So what happens is, like, who's nominated for Album of the Year? The kind of people who are going to vote for a pop, like hip hop, they're all split at least a little bit to Justin Bieber and like one other album in the category. So those votes split. It's a vote. You want to say that the Grammys as one whole are just one group of like 6 grandmothers who are voting, but it's not. It's all those people there. And they get split. The people who listen to Justin and Beyonce and who else was nominated? The third one, the non-country and the non-Adele, those people split the vote. Who do you mean those people? But I'm just saying, like, the folks who listen to the music we listen to split that vote. And who's left over? Like a bunch of grandmothers. The last black artist to win Album of the Year was a jazz musician.
That's really sad.
And was the only jazz musician in the category.
And I also think a big thing that is going to be talked about following this Grammys is its cultural relevance and how it is on the pulse of what we will remember with regards to pop culture in this moment. And the Grammys have, you know, the conversation is, are the Grammys still relevant? And I would argue that given the past 2 years, they aren't relevant anymore.
Well, what about some
Right. Well, what's relevant?
Lemonade is what
Relevant.
when CNN does a documentary about 2016 or 2017, like in this year in our lives, the piece of art that will be talked about, more than 25 by Adele, will be Lemonade and the impact that Beyonce had performing at the Super Bowl and the stir that caused. And so for that not to be awarded, it shows that the Grammys aren't recognizing what should be recognizing, the cultural impact that this work of art is having.
That's a good point, but what I will say, when I was reading a lot of the feedback on the Grammys this morning, most of the tweets were about some of the political statements. So maybe the residual effect that people are feeling after the fact isn't so much about the music, which it should be, and the accolade, because Beyonce deserved it, but come on, Laverne Cox talking about Gavin Graham. Like, those are things that people did not know about. And even I had to remind myself by going to Gavin Graham, by going to the hashtag and going, oh my gosh, she's going to the Supreme Court already. And this is a teenager who is suing a Virginia high school over bathroom rights. And what's interesting about that story that I had to re-familiarize myself with is that he was always supported by his peers. He was always supported by his teachers and his faculty. It was actually the parents that got involved and said, we don't want this kid in the bathroom with our teenagers. So now he's like in a utility closet. So it's important. The Grammys can be very important and some people may disagree with me and say, keep music separate, keep that all separate. I just want to watch the Grammys and enjoy. But for Laverne Cox to talk about Gavin Graham, for Tribe Called Quest to have, their We the People, the performance, to me, that's powerful. And I think that's what can influence, but I do think that it's lost a lot of like the music aspect.
Music has always been a place for political dissent, though. It always has, and I feel like now more than ever there's a need for it,
I agree.
and we're not really seeing it as much.
Yeah,
we're not.
Well, we're seeing it
if
through
you look at-
silence.
We are.
No, I don't agree. I think it's not like it's not like it used to be, where like the punk rock movement or like all this counterculture music was like more counterculture rather than consumerism, and now it's driven by that mentality, and we're picking artists that are also like has mass consumer appeal, and that's a big part of the reason why I think Beyonce's Lemonade didn't win, even though it should have.
That's a good point. What did you want to bring up about Chance the Rapper?
Oh, I was gonna say, so I wanted
He
to talk
won big
about
last
one.
night.
Yeah, I want to talk about one positive note, and that is that finally, after years and years, the Grammys inevitably opened up the doors to artists, like independent, like truly independent artists like Chance the Rapper. And that's a positive note. I mean, he won a lot.
They changed the rules for what allows you to be nominated
Yeah.
for a Grammy to be more friendly than it had ever been. Because it wasn't friendly at all. And it's not super friendly now. It's still literally a double standard in how many, how many you need to sell or something for streaming versus in store. Like, it's easier if you sell it in stores to be nominated than if you have streaming. You just need to do more. But I still think that I don't know. It's called the gramophones. Grammy is short for gramophone, which is a really old fucking way to listen to music. I don't know why we're so shocked that the music industry, which is, you have a whole stable center full of music people, and you only recognize 40 people in it. It's such a giant apparatus behind it that's also voting for it. And relevance is a specific term. Relevant to what? I could say that more people listening to something makes it more relevant. More people buy Adele's record than buy Beyonce's record. That said, album of the year, what the fuck are we doing here? An album. And all the people who came up in the music industry who are still voting this way, like the folks who grew up in the era of the fucking album, the 70s and the 60s, like this is when we put together albums that are supposed to be listened to front to back as a full experience. Like Beyonce was the real only album. And then Chance the Rapper, amazing, because he's so fucking religious. And you have these voters and everyone who's like, Chance the Rapper, he seems to be cool. He's in the Kit Kat commercial. And Justin Bieber seems to like him really. I feel like I'm in on something. I think Chance winning is proof just how tone deaf and irrelevant the Grammys are, because like I don't think anyone expected him to say like God, 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 God a million times. And then bring in, like, when he came out with his whole fucking entourage of like, gospel singers, it was so much more religious than I expected
his entire
it to be.
album is like a gospel album.
Yeah,
his
but
entire
still.
album is the gospel album that Kanye West said he was going to make his latest album as, and it never
do
actually
have
But
to go.
that
This is-
reinforces the point that it's like, I think people just wanted him to sing the Kit Kat bar, like, thing that he does. And
No,
I
it was
think
a
I think
unique
he was
work of
able to
art.
hit both. He was able to hit both. And that's the thing that you have to do, is you have to put forward to the general voting population this very difficult to achieve, like, I'm friendly with the mainstream while still in the background maintaining your integrity. And that was something that I think Chance was able to do really well commercially. He's in a fucking Kit Kat commercial. And then has like this really intense,
I get what you're saying.
you know,
And then he has
that's
this
hard to
independent
do.
artist background.
And
okay.
it's a shame that you have to double talk like that to win a Grammy.
That's a great point. We're going to leave it on that point. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. We'll see you next time.